By a show of hands, how many of you enjoy serving others? Now, some of you may actually enjoy it, but if you're honest, if we're all honest, serving does not come easily. Thinking back to my next door neighbors who grew up with a wonderful mom who was a bake, uh, very well versed with baking, she often would bake cakes. My best friend was the younger brother, and whenever his mom would bake a cake, they would fight over who gets the first piece. And then they were Christians, grew up in a well trained Christian household. The mom would break up the fight and say, "Boys, boys, boys, what would Jesus do?" And then they would sit back and think and say, "Well, Jesus would put others first." She said, "That's correct. You guys need to be like Jesus and put the other sibling first." And so they would do it, but next time she baked a cake, the older brother would say, "Well, why don't you be Jesus this time?" You see, the tendency is in our flesh, our desire is to put ourselves first. It's not very easy for us to put others first. And in the story that I shared, the boys were wanting the first piece of cake. Instead of letting their brother go first, they said, "Why don't you be like Jesus and put me first?" Well, I'm going to be uh, teaching today from Mark chapter 10, verses 35 through 45. And what is interesting is the disciples are actually kind of going through the same fleshly desire of wanting approval. I don't know if y'all are like me, but I struggle with that myself. Desiring approval from man, desiring recognition and honor. So let's look at that. Mark 10:35 through 45. Kind of the context here is what we see going on is the disciples go to Jesus and say, "Hey, we want you to do us a huge favor. Please, Lord, can you do whatever we ask?" And Jesus says, "Okay, what is it you want me to do for you?" And then the disciples respond with, "We want to sit at your left and your right." They're pretty much asking them, "We want to be glorified with honor." And Jesus says, "Well, you don't even know what you're really asking. Those places aren't for me to give to you. They're reserved for whom they belong, special seats." And then he begins to teach them a valuable lesson that we all can learn from. He says, the way the world operates, the rulers and authorities of this world, they lord it over the people they rule over, meaning they take their position and receive pride from it. They are in a status or position and they hold it against everyone else, making them serve them. And Jesus says, not only to James and John, but to the other disciples, he says, "Not so with you. Whoever wants to be great among you must be your servant." And so he blows their entire perspective like, whoa, can you imagine? And not only that, he takes it a step further. Jesus says, "For even the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many." In those simple, short phrases of Jesus, he has revolutionized the disciples' thinking. See, they were so concerned about what they can get from being placed in places of honor. And they didn't have the proper perspective of serving. They thought in order to be great, they had to be highly esteemed. Well, Jesus says, no, the way to be great is to serve others. Humble yourself, serve others. So the theme throughout this entire passage that we can learn is to seek to serve. In our flesh, our tendency is seek to satisfy ourselves, but Jesus clearly communicates here, as believers, we need to seek to serve. Now, how does that apply to us today in our lives? as adults, young married couples, young single adults, are there ways we can serve? Well, some may be thinking no, but clearly, obviously, yes, there are ways we can serve. For you married couples, when your spouse comes home from work, husbands, what do you do to serve your wife? Is she overwhelmed with the kids? Are the dishes piling up? Are chores overwhelming your wife? Maybe you can give your wife a day away from the kids to just relax. You can take the kids for a weekend, give her time to go away shopping with friends, whatever she wants to do, giving her time to be away from her normal duties. Or vice versa. Wives, how can you serve your husbands? Maybe there's an opportunity you can wake up early and cook a special meal for your husband before he goes to work, or pack him a lunch. Maybe he comes home stressed and you can just relieve his tension by giving him a massage. Single adults, how can you serve? There's plenty of volunteer opportunities in your community. It's up to us to seek them out. Maybe you can get involved with a homeless shelter, a food bank, packaging food for those in need. Various ways we can serve others. Also, a great way to serve, no matter what context or season of life you are in, is financially. Thinking about the people in your life that you know right now, is there anyone who could be struggling financially? Or you may be saying, well, I don't have a lot of finances. Well, that's not the issue. It's not about having a lot of finances. There are opportunities you can lift the burden of someone else by sowing into them financially. Maybe it's as simple as paying for someone's conference ticket. They can't afford to go to a marriage retreat, but you are able to contribute to that and help them earn enough money. So no matter what you see in life is, think about how you can serve others throughout this week. Your coworkers. Maybe the trash doesn't always get taken out, or the same person takes it out. You can take the initiative to step into that normal routine and lift the burden from someone else, and you can serve them. See, the way we can serve others is to find out the needs of others, be in tune to our surroundings, and don't just be so self consumed. In addition to that, we have to remain humble. Don't let our places of authority, position, or titles go to our heads. Let us think about how Jesus gave us the ultimate example, being the heavenly King of all kings, coming down to this earth and humbling himself and serving us constantly, right? Serving us so much so that he was willing to die for us. We need to seek opportunities to serve others, not just ourselves. The Bible's clear on this throughout all the scriptures. Do not withhold good from others when it is in your power to act. The more we serve others, the more God is glorified, and the more love is spread and communicated, and the more that our light is shined before men, that they may see our good deeds and glorify our Father in heaven. So I pray that you have gathered something from this message, and that it will be encouragement to you all, and that you will be well equipped to go out and do good works by serving others. Do not forget, seek to serve. God bless.